Hey guys, JH, welcome to Practice Tea. And I suppose I might as well carry on with tradition and give a weather forecast. Beautiful today, it's about 30 degrees Celsius, but nice, beautiful northeast breeze here. It's 30 degrees, feels more like 25. When the breeze is going, it's fantastic. Okay guys, okay, I had an interesting Skype session this morning with Lee Como from Sea Motion for about nearly 3 hours, and Lee's really done some work on his golf swing. There's a lot of stuff there, guys, that I'm not privy to divulge at this stage, because Lee's got to the stage where he's in the end process of his own evolution of the golf swing, and he wants to put it together. But there's some very exciting stuff there, very exciting. And he gave me some general insight into his own golf swing, which I can incorporate down the track once we become more familiar with Sea Motion. I've got to have a few more sessions with Lee so we can go over and find out how we package this. But he's so passionate, guys. Man, he's so passionate, and he knows absolutely the ins and outs and total nuances of what he does. So yeah, exciting times ahead. Okay guys, Davinci Code. Now one of the things that will help you enormously with Davinci Code is to get the feeling of the connection and the maintenance of the connection in the golf swing, because our basic operational structure is that we're connected here, we're gunslinger connected here. We want to basically just curl the club up here, stay connected, and then fire the club head out through the wrist hinge with the fingers controlling the feel of the release of the shot. Now I've got a very good friend of mine who's been working on it, and he's having the devil's own job of understanding and getting the connection. And he gets here and he says, yeah, this is where you want to be, but as soon as he gets over the ball, this bleeds away and he gets to here. And guys, that happens because I think because of just the physical structure and how you have to put this together. Now if you're going to be in the gunslinger mode and you're going to be connected here, you get that here, you get it here. I've got the club in my lead hand, and of course my buddy was saying, well JS, how do I get the club into my right hand? It's not easy. So we've got it here in the lead hand, and we've got this connection in the trail arm, which is here. So guys, we bring it in here. We don't give this up, to use one of the terminology of my buddy Martinez. Don't give this up. Marty uses that a lot. Whatever you got, don't give it up. So once you've got this, don't give it up. So it's here, we've got to maintain it. So we get in here. Now where I'm here and I get into here, I come forward a bit, but I don't want to come forward so that there's any daylight there, or I'm off the upper hip section here. I don't want to do that. So how do I get there? I've got to bring this left hand into here. Now what my buddy had was he had huge amounts of shaft angle here, and by having a lot of shaft angle, that was pulling his trail arm away from his body. Now guys, you can't have all that shaft angle, because that means that the lead hand is too far forward. We don't want that. I want this shaft as up and down as I can get it, or as perpendicular as I can get it. It won't be perfectly straight up and down, but we'll take a fair bit of angle out of it. So if it's here in my lead hand and I've got my right hand here, all I want to do is this. Now I've only got probably 10 degrees on that at the most. But if I've got my lead hand over here and I release this trail arm here, if I release this forward, it just lets that lead arm go forward. It puts too much angle on the golf club. You don't want that much shaft angle. because that's a concocted position of your right side. If you've got shaft angle on and you're reaching forward, it pushes this out. I don't want that out. I want the trail side back and shut and closed down as a feeling. It's here, guys. It's back, closed down. Here. So we've got to basically, and we've got to just walk into the ball. We've got to get close to the ball. This is the whole thing, guys. This is the whole essence of the understanding. The only way we can maintain that is that we have to sort of waddle in to the ball without sort of trying to find the ball. The ball's we've got to go to the ball. We don't want the club head to go to the ball. We have to just move out to the golf ball. Everything, the whole structure just has to move out to the golf ball. But don't get here and then just say, I've got to get the club behind the ball. And of course, a couple of people have said, I came in here, but how do I get to the golf ball? I said, well, the structure is different, guys. We're actually closer to the golf ball now because this is back and we haven't got this excessive push out here in the setup like a normal setup would be here. Look at them. But this is not a normal setup. This is far from a normal setup because this is Davinci setup. Okay, now to get you're feeling the connection and the maintenance of that connection, I just want you to get a pitching wedge or a 9-iron or whatever and just get this connection here. We've got this lead arm here, then we're putting it in here, and guys, we're just going to, what we're going to do is we're going to push the head of the golf club to the golf ball with all the components of our body that we need to push. Now, what do we need to push? If I'm going to call it a shove, because that's a push. I want to shove it. I want to shove it sideways. That's what I want. I don't want to push that way. I want to shove. So if I'm going to shove this here, what components do I need to shove it? Here. Well, I'm just doing the isolation here. I can feel this. I can absolutely feel my lat here, the point of my shoulder, the upper arm, the humerus here, the inside of my trail leg, the inside of my trail ankle. They're all the components here that I feel as pushing agents. I don't just want to push with my hands. I want to push with everything. Because if we're back here, guys, if we go back here in the golf swing, we're a long way behind the ball here. We've got our turn going here. Now we just don't want to flap the arms out. Sure, we want to keep the shoulders closed a little bit, but we also want to go here, and then we just want to push it. Now the good thing about the push, guys, watch this lead leg. Watch what happens here. When I push with all this here, look what happens to this. This lead leg starts to straighten, and the upper portion of the lead leg, the thigh section, pushes this way, which is going to give us that little bit of secondary tilt that we want at impact. So that's a really good byproduct of this. And you will only get that if you push. If you throw, look, the leg doesn't move. If I just throw that out there, the leg doesn't move. But if I push all the components out there, look, as all these components are pushing out, this is responding. Now that's my fault. It is my fault that I've left this so long to explain that to guys. And I watched my buddy have quite a painful experience trying to get there, and he was topping it and doing all sorts of things. And I could see this, he was just completely losing the connection. So guys, to get the feeling, here we are, we've got it here. We're just going to waddle into the ball here. And then we'll just take it back a little bit, and we're going to push it. We're not going to push it. Don't say that, JH. We're going to shove it. Remember I mentioned a few videos ago where I said we're just shoving everything out there. Well, you got an Australian here telling you to shove it, which a lot of Australians do anyway. So guys, this is it. We've got that lead arm here. We've got the connection here. We've got this trail arm in the gunslinger here. Now we've got our position. We don't want to lose the connection. We just waddle in. Now how do we shove it? How do I get it shoving? That's what I've got to do. Look, even in a little swing like that, I get that upper leg moving backwards, which is going to give me that secondary tilt in a full golf swing, which is what I want. Why do I want the secondary tilt? Because I want to be able to unwind it like this. I want to be able to snap this here and fire the club head past the centre. That's what I wanted. That's why I want that. I've never taught secondary tilt normally because people, as I said before, people just overdo it and misunderstand it. And they end up doing this. So we want to shove, guys. Just get into your mind. How would I shove something? What would I do? How would I shove? Just get if you've got a medicine ball or something like that at home, and you want to throw it over there, just get it here. And you wouldn't throw it like that, would you? You'd have to shove it. And all these components here will work with the shove. Now that will give you the feeling of what we need in the full golf swing. In the full golf swing, we just need all those components to shove, but they'll be shoving from a more wound up position through a greater range of motion. But for the exercise to get the feeling of the shove, so it's here. We've got the connection here and the shove. I mean, that's beautiful. And I think I said on one of the videos before when I mentioned shove, if you just had that action and those mechanics when you pitch the ball up to 50, 60, 70 metres, you'd knock the flag out because the ball just gets collected so beautifully and it just goes so straight. So this is the way, guys. These, again, we may have to go back to a few baby steps. Here we are here, we're coming in here, the gunslinger. We just waddle up to the golf ball. We're going to shove it. Shove. That's really nice. Now it's my fault. I admit the responsibility of not addressing this earlier. Because what I was saying was what I was actually feeling, but I was incorporating these other aspects that I'm showing you now in my shove. But I was basically saying to you guys, just throw that trail hand out there. Well, you can do that, but all this doesn't go out there as well. So here we are. It's just so good. It's the old story, guys. You can't walk before you run, you can't run before you walk, and you can't walk before you crawl. So we're a little bit still at the crawling stage, but if you can learn to crawl perfectly, which you will here, you'll have no trouble going into the walking stage, and then no trouble into the we'll go crawling, walking, jogging, running. So at this stage we're sort of still in the crawling stage, but in a couple of weeks we will have gone past those three phases. So we're just going to shove it. So good. Those 3 golf balls in a little triangle, about a 3-foot triangle. Now you've got to get the feel of this connection and the shove. You have to get it. So you can only get it in a small golf swing initially. Can't get it in a big swing. Because learning the connection and getting all those components firing in a big swing is too hard. And guys, if you are players or golfers that have a chance to practice, well, I know a lot of people don't have a lot of chance to practice, and they probably got to take this onto the golf course without being able to practice. So it's going to be tough because you really need a couple of sessions to get the feeling. You really need it. All right, I'll just hit this one with a bit longer swing, but exactly the same requirement of shove. Just up it a little bit. Now that's a little bit in, that's a sort of a 5/8 of a golf swing. That's about a, it's about a 95 metre carry. But there's absolutely the shove feeling in there. I mean, that really, and it's good for me as well. I mean, I'm learning this with you guys, and I think a little bit of that bled out of me as well, but it's certainly back in there now. That's as good as it gets. See, that's about 105, 110 carry. Now that's a little golf swing with a wedge to carry at 110, and just so straight. Well, we'll just ramp it up to almost a full swing. It's about 110, 112. Now, if you can do it smoother, and actually, if you can actually incorporate that thing we spoke about the other day, which was the slow motion golf swing, if you can incorporate that, that'd be great. It's so straight, guys. Now I've got a lot of connection on the left side, which I'm doing deliberately, so it's sawn off. It's a hook back, but I'm doing that deliberately. That's perfect. See, that's about one wedge, that's about 115 carry. That's perfect. All right, now I'll get lots of shove and some finger throw at the same time. There it is, guys. There it is. Now that's about 118, 120. Now that's about as far as I normally hit a wedge. I don't try and hit it any further than I can hit it further than that, but I don't try. There's a little bit of, you know, disconnection on that side, which you'll get with a proper golf swing. I mean, that's just such good contact. Just hit a couple this way away over the camera. And this is always hard on my mind because I've got my camera there, which is worth a few $1,000s. It's very tough. But I just want to show you the connect and this lead leg operation. There it is, guys. Look at this leg back. Gee, that's a good shot. There's a little pile of sand out there going up to a pyramid, and I aim for the top of it then, because I aim for everything. Even when I'm doing these shots, guys, I've always got a target. It's just a little pyramid top about that wide. Just landed within the land on the top of the pyramid. It was about 105 to that, just a little bunt. That's what it looks like front on, guys. Okay, so that's what that video is about today, or this video is about today. That we've got to have more shove in the golf swing. And incorporating the shove, it doesn't hurt when you're incorporating the shove, working on it. Always work on your throw. You can't be too aggressive with the throw and the finger release and the wrist release. If you can actually release it, guys, so that we actually finish like that, with the club like that. And I was talking this morning to Lee about seeing, you know, stop frames of him where the club is here. And he said, yeah, I just let it go. And he hits it great. So don't be afraid of letting the club head go. I'll really let the club head go with this one. They're just so straight. Well, you want to be able to hit a 100-metre wedge, you want to be able to hit it straight. Although I keep saying I'm just appalled at the level of wedge play these days on the tours. God, they're not in the class of the guys of the 60s, the 70s, even the early 80s. They're just not in their class. I'm sorry to say that, but that's it. I mean, the players and David Graham and Bruce Crampton, those guys. Bruce Devlin. I mean, Bruce Devlin from 120 yards in. I mean, you knock it inside 10 feet all the time. And they just did it. I mean, I know I've played beside them and around them, and I know those guys were unbelievable. But they just knocked the flag out from that distance. And you should be able to. Okay, full shot. I'll just hit a 5-iron, but with a lot of shove. Big shove 5-iron. Lots of shove on that. See how low the hands were? And see how much turnover I had on the shaft? And that's what I work towards, guys. I work towards the low hands and the low club head after impact. I'll try and do this a little slower. Be good shots. Sure, they go flatter because I'm really turning the club down. But that wouldn't hurt a lot of you guys anyway. Not unless you're someone that hits the ball underground. That's just unbelievably good. That is really good. Come on, Jay, shove it. It's a good shove, that one. So guys, that's the lesson for today. Just work on the shove, work on the connection. Get this here and then bring it to the trail hand and then just walk into the ball. Okay, last shot. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay guys, when I said it was 30 and it felt like 25, it's now feels like about 35 and feels like about 50 because the breeze has dropped. Okay guys, just have a look at that, and we'll just keep coming up with the little bits that we really need to get it in, but we've got to learn to shove it with all the components.